and I will share from what I have what I've gathered from Japan to now, and 1.5 weeks of using this camera. I find that it's really amazing for something that's so special. It still has its quirks, but the quirks is in a very good way, in a very positive way, because it is actually purpose-built for off-duty camera, I would say. Yeah. So can it be used professionally? I don't know, because it's up to you. What do you mean by professional? As in like your workhorse? Maybe not. But is it robust enough? Is it tough enough? Is it better sealed? That kind of thing that we photographers would always like to ask. So the whole purpose of today's meet and greet is to meet the BF. Right? You can call it anything, but the official definition is beautiful foolishness. All right. You can call it boyfriend. I call it my best friend. All right. So some says the best camera is the one that you have with you at the time. So instead of pulling out a smartphone during my trip in Japan, I'm glad I had this, and I don't have to worry about the technicalities of using a camera. You just pull it out, turn it on super fast. I demonstrate to you. Okay. Now there's very few buttons. In fact, there's only 1, 2. You consider this a dial. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 buttons, right? Of course, this is the 6th one. to take out the lens. This is an L mount full frame camera body. All right. Sigma being one of the forefront member of the L mount alliance. This is their second L mount, third L mount body. If you consider FP, FPL, BF is the third one. All right. And you know, Sigma has always been very fond of making extraordinary, special cameras. They are not conforming. So it is Sigma's philosophy is that no point going into a very crowded space of speed and power. Right? Let's do something that is very different, aesthetically pleasing, able to do your everyday shot, casual, or even some very special moments that you want to capture in very high quality. That's what it's all about, with very minimal fuss. Now, I believe after using this for about 1.5 weeks, I believe the design philosophy centers around what people would use without having to be too mindful about many things. For example, I have to admit that sometimes when I shoot, I forgot my memory card for a few reasons. Number one, I left it on the computer because I was doing something with it the day before. I forgot to pull it out from the Mac or from my computer, and I forgot to put it into my disk. Right. So then the other thing is that number of lenses that I need to take. Do I need to take my big guns, the 70-200, that kind of thing? You know, when I go to Japan, I only spend about 1.5 hours packing my clothes. I spend half a day packing my camera gears. At the end of the day, I just bring something that's pretty small. But we have to kind of always anticipate what are we going to shoot, that kind of thing, right? We're so messy, right? We are so messed up in our photographic minds. So this one allows me to just pick and go, right? And I already have most of the lenses in L mount anyway. And I can profess that I'm probably one of the longest L mount camera user. Till today, I'm still using since 2019. And I have, plus this, eventually I'm going to have 6 camera bodies in L mount. All right? And I love this so much because I think aesthetically it's very pleasing. This uni body is milled out of one block of aluminum. And it takes 7 hours to CNC this body. 7 hours. And we toured the Sigma factory at Aizu, Wakamatsu, and there are only 6 machines. So you can calculate. They only can do about 7 bodies if you run multiple shifts and so on. I mean, for 7 full camera bodies. Milling is just 7 hours by itself, but assembly and so on, right? So it's going to be quite limited in production as far as volume is concerned. But I think it has taken the world by storm on how radical this camera is. By it being different, captures attention. People kind of like, oh wow, what is this? You know. So and therefore I see all of you here. I'm very glad. Now, so other than this, being very simplistic in this design is meant to be picked up and used with very minimal instructions. Now that said, because oh, hi DJ. Hey. So, yeah. So I've grown up using very complicated cameras, right? And we tend to think in a very complicated way. So we always say, oh, this button, that button, you know, everything, right? So suddenly it becomes so simple. You got to unlearn certain photographic concepts and how you use the tool,
when you use this. So there's some unlearning and relearning process. And I have to admit, it took me a while, like 3 days. Okay, for me 3 days is a very long time. I can pick up any conventional mirrors, cameras, and I can pick it up in like an hour. But this takes me a while because there is, number one, there's no PSAM mode. You can't do your typical PSAM. All right, but what you can do is, okay, let me just show you the power up first. It's super fast, all right? So that, right, it's as fast, faster than your mobile phone, all right? That's for sure. Now, if you notice the bar and the back is something that is very, very familiar, and you also see a OLED screen here. The OLED screen is the one that gives you the current status of the current parameters that you wish to tweak. So let's say, for example, I have it at F4 right now. So if I go to, oh, I can't because I have to turn this here. Okay, now I'm at F2, and I'm currently using the silver version, which is actually first time ever that Sigma has released it in silver. Whole range of I-series prime lenses. Not many people are aware of Sigma I-series lenses. This is actually one of the other I-series lenses which I have, and they are all prime lenses. This is 90mm f2.8, something that I love very much. And those days I can only get it in black. Now you have it in full range silver, all right, to match the body. Of course, this camera also comes in black, anodized black. So yeah, you have a choice. So I'm still deciding, maybe you give me some idea whether I should go silver or go black. Actually ask. Now, so with this, when you are at aperture, you can just turn the aperture ring if you want to control it that way, or you can actually turn this down. All right. If you turn this down, and you turn this down, you can actually control it via the rear dial. See that? But if you want the aperture to be auto, in whatever case, you don't have to switch your brain. Oh, do I go S mode or P mode or M mode or whatever? Don't care. You just have to press this button and move it up to auto. You see that? That's it. Now, which mode am I in? I don't know. But to me, I don't want to decide on aperture. Maybe given the situation, given the subject that I'm shooting, I'm more concerned about shutter speed. So it may seem like it's skewed towards shutter priority, right? Then what about ISO? Do I have to care about ISO? Maybe, maybe not. But sometimes, you see, the thing is that I can put ISO at auto. Then it becomes shutter priority, right? But sometimes I said, no, I want my ISO to be fixed at, say, 800. Now I'm controlling two parameters at the same time. I'm controlling the shutter speed, I'm controlling the ISO, and let the aperture take its course. Now, this is a mode that is not conventional in normal cameras, all right? So, if let's say I turn everything to auto, then it's like a P mode. All right, it becomes a point and shoot where I don't have to worry about any other setting, right? So I can actually turn everything back to normal, so it becomes a manual mode. So there's no dedicated PSAM, but I think this gives you a lot more versatility in terms of how you want to use the camera without switching it out. Okay? Now, so the other thing is that, let's say right now, I'm at, okay, I just turned into another mode. So let's say I go, okay, JPEG. Now, on my screen, it shows JPEG, right? If I turn the dial, of course, it can go to BNG, whatever. Now, at any given situation, for example, I want to take a shot of Kelvin, so I will just turn this dial to Kelvin, and now I'm at ISO 2000, so let me lower it. See, when I half press the shutter, it goes into another menu that I can decide. For example, it can be a plus minus compensation, EV compensation, or in this case, it's ISO. Right? So I can just turn this and look, got it. Right? Do you even see the screen black out? Actually, you do. See that? Split second. Yeah. I needed that. You know why? There is an option. If you were to go to you press this option button and go to system, you can actually do shutter blackout off. And is there a blackout? I've taken more than 12 shots. I don't even know. That was the problem when I use the camera. I have to unlearn certain things because there's no shutter blackout. I consciously have I taken that shot or not? I have to review. I wasn't very sure anymore. If I have a shutter, maybe I hear a sound, right? So in this case, I turned off the previous user actually turned off the sound. So there's no sound. So it's like, have I taken the shot? Because you see, let's be frank, I've never experienced a Sigma camera that works so fast. It's a joke. You know, it sounds super fast. It's so good. All right, so it's quite scary lah. So then the thing is that how do I review the shots? Normally, when you take a shot, your camera will ask you, oh, you want it for 3 seconds, 5 seconds to preview before it turns off again. Now there's no such mode. So not friendly. No, it's actually very friendly. Why? Because there's haptic feedback on the keys. It's not just pressing it, but touching it also invokes a certain function. So for the last shot that I've taken, I can just put my finger or my thumb, just touch it, I got it. Let go, gone. See, smart, right? If I press it, yes, it stays. I don't know what happened. Okay, so that's 2 functions to 1. So, okay, at some point, I want to check, oh, what's the battery level, what setting, and what date, and so on. So just like your phone, right? You press the power button to know your date. What's the date today? What's the time today? You just press this. This is also another haptic button. Press. See that? The top, 81%, 1147. See that? I'm not pressing it. I'm just touching it. Pretty smart. Yeah. So that's why there's more than the buttons that you can feel. And after a while, I find that, hey, this is actually very friendly. Why can't other cameras do it the same? It's kind of like that. Of course, there are dedicated buttons for everything. There's info button, there's screen button, there's display button, EVF button on the other conventional workhorse cameras, right? But this is what it's meant for lah. I believe this camera also addresses a new crowd, a new demography of photography users who may want to do more than what they are doing from just using a phone. I know these days phones are also coming into the camera space already. Now you can attach lenses, right? I won't mention, but you know who, right? And photographers get very excited. I wonder why. Okay, so give me small sensor. This is very big sensor, this full frame sensor, and you can already do so much already. So I believe the design philosophy is kind of like go into a new area lah, where it is so-called unfamiliar territory to us, but it's not totally alien lah. Okay, we have always used our phone at some point anyway. It's probably the most used camera on a device. I won't say camera phone, but it's most used on that. But this becomes an excellent bridging product. A camera that suits most occasions where you're not really serious. In fact, can you do serious work with it? Yes, you can now, because why? The autofocus is very good. We don't have to struggle anymore. Okay, right. So let me just turn it down to. Okay, let me just go to the. Okay, I actually turn it to AFC, and I find that I don't use AFS anymore, single shot autofocus. If I can, but the AFC works excellently. Okay, so for example, it has recognition, and if I were to lock at you, you can see how well it locks already now, TJ, right? So it locks, it doesn't struggle, and this is on autofocus continuous, right? Continuous autofocus, and it's really, really good, right? I don't know how many shots I've taken, so there's no blackout. But yeah, okay, I got it. Okay. So autofocus is no longer an issue. I'm speaking on behalf of the iteration and the evolution of Sigma cameras. I struggle with it right, from very, very old days cameras, like more than 10 years ago to now. This is a prayer answer for me, all right? Then other things, if you want to go into something more advanced, like for example, changing the aspect ratio, which sometimes we do, right? We want to crop and all these things, right? So I have now changed it to the aspect ratio mode, and going left and going right becomes very logical, because when you turn the dial to the left, it goes to something that's narrower, more panoramic. You go to the other side, it is more squarish, right? So if I were to turn it, you see the crop mark, see that? Okay, so this is 1:1, which is very square, and then this is 6:7, this is 4:3, this is A size, which is ISO A size, 1 to 1.414, and back to 3:2, which is the native aspect ratio of the camera, of the sensor. And this is 16:9 and the infamous 21:9. So it's a bit narrower. I like the 21:9 is because regardless of the focal length you use, somehow when you take it at 21:9, it somewhat looks more cinematic. Yeah. So if I would take this, okay. Yeah, take a shot. I know when you come. Okay. Anyway, let's see. Right. This is 21:9 mode lah. So. You can use any focal length. I've tried any focal length, something very wide, something very long, and put it at 21:9, shooting at certain subject, whether street, landscape, or whatever. It always give you that very nice cinematic feel. Right. Oh, it came out. Okay. Oh, the other thing is because how I actually transmit to here is because this has a USB-C port, USB 3.2 Gen 2 to be exact, which means it's very fast, and which means it also supports generic driverless USB-C devices. This particular cable is actually USB-C to HDMI, which I bought from where? From an IT shop. I think I bought it from Harvey Norman. Actually, it's a Huawei cable. So I plug it in, and now you can see this, right? You can also use generic USB-C hubs if you want to, which I bought this about 3 years ago during the 3-4 years about MCO days, right? USB-C, and you have a HDMI out, and you have a USB-A, you have a USB-C, and you have a headphone jack. All right, so you can actually plug this onto the camera, and it will work. I mean, I'm talking about 2 ports working at the same time. All right, so do they have a full HDMI cable? Maybe I can demonstrate that for convenience. Connectivity is something very important because some people ask, no Wi-Fi, no this, no that, and so on, right? How are we going to deal with the storage? Oh, by the way, instead of storage, you can't insert a memory card, but it comes built in 230 gig of memory. And the memory is actually very, very fast because it's actually SSD grade. All right. The good thing about this is that from an aesthetic point of view, you don't need to have a cover to put in your card, and it maintains the weather seal property of the camera itself. And the second thing is that, like me, you never go out with the camera without a card. That's just okay. All right. So, hey Yabo. Okay, yeah, bring in. So first I will demonstrate by plugging in 2 devices, all right, to see how it works. Which also means that now, because it supports HDMI out, actually I can put it to something like an Atomos. So if you want to use this as a vlogging tool, yeah, you can, because you see the thing is that the screen cannot flip, huh? So there's no way of seeing yourself. So but you can actually put this here. Or I mean, you don't want to splurge on the Atomos, yeah, you can find something. There's so many other choices already. So you can use one to look at yourself, and then you can do the recording. But of course, this is a lot better because I find that it has HDMI in out. At the same time, it has headphone and mic in. This is important because this camera does not have mic and line input. All right, so you cannot plug a mic directly, but you can plug a mic that has a USB-C connection, which I believe some of the brands do. Okay, let's try this. I need to drop it.